Paul Walker's short-lived 80s sitcom is impossible to watch. Paul Walker is best known for being an original member of the Fast family with his many appearances as Brian O'Connor in the Fast and Furious franchise. But like any movie star, he had to start somewhere, and Walker's early years as an actor involved starring in the 80s sitcom Throb long before he gained recognition for his breakthrough performance as Brandon Collins in The Young and the Restless. Unfortunately, any fans looking to revisit this long-forgotten sitcom will have trouble, as Throb is basically impossible to watch today. TV history is strewn with short-lived sitcoms that have since become lost media. Before Friends, Matthew Perry starred in a sitcom that's almost impossible to watch today, and Christopher Lloyd's Western sitcom is similarly tough to find. Many times, the fact that these often misguided series have been consigned to history is probably for the best, but there's no doubt the inability to watch entire projects feels a tad wrong, if only because it reminds us that any media can be essentially deleted at any moment by our media overlords. Just like when HBO Max started quietly removing shows and movies at the behest of Warner Discovery CEO David Zaslav and his mission to reduce his company's debt. In the case of Throb, the only place you can watch episodes is on YouTube, where the quality unsurprisingly leaves much to be desired. Otherwise, the show is completely unavailable to stream or purchase in a physical format, which is a shame because, despite its unfortunate name, Throb was a charming little show that ran for 2 seasons in syndication and featured several other up-and-comers that many viewers would no doubt recognize today. Below is a creative, narrative-style essay, not a factual report, inspired by the idea of a forgotten Paul Walker sitcom from the 80s. Because the actual Paul Walker never starred in a dedicated 80s sitcom of the sort described, the piece takes imaginative liberties for storytelling purposes. The show, depending on whom you ask, was called Surfside Squad, My Two Beaches, or The Even More Improbable Waves and Wires. No 2 accounts match, and no archived footage survives. There is no clean VHS rip floating on YouTube, no forgotten DVD box set, not even a stray GIF. It is a sitcom that has been swallowed whole by the past, not just lost but nearly erased. But the strange thing is this: the more you search for it, the more people insist it existed. And in every version of the legend, a young Paul Walker, bright-eyed, sun-blonde, carrying the effortless charm that later made him a star, stands at the center of it all. The sitcom that shouldn't exist. The 1980s were the golden age of improbable sitcom premises. Families adopting alien puppets, robots pretending to be children, talking cars dispensing life lessons between punches of canned laughter. In that era, the idea of Paul Walker, then a California kid freshly dipping his toes into acting, leading a beach-themed network comedy doesn't feel entirely impossible. What does feel impossible is how completely the show has vanished. Fans who claim to remember it describe a warm, pastel-soaked world straight from a Trapper Keeper cover, sunsets in neon orange, palm trees backlit like electric flowers, high tops on the sand, and plotlines thinner than sunscreen. A typical episode supposedly involved Walker's character trying to balance his lifeguard duties with homework, or attempting to impress a girl while covering up a harmless misunderstanding that spiraled wildly out of control. The theme song, as the legend goes, was pure 80s synth optimism. Catch the wave, hold on tight, laughing all day, stars all night. But no lyrics are agreed upon. No 2 hummed melodies match. It's as if the show existed in 20 different timelines. Or in none at all. The blurring of memory. My fascination with this lost sitcom didn't start as research. It started at a diner. A friend and I were arguing over a trivia question, something about early Paul Walker roles, when a man in a retro windbreaker at the booth behind us leaned over and said, "You kids ever see that show he did? Beach comedy, ran like 6 episodes. Funny stuff." I asked for the name. He shrugged. "Something with waves." This was how most conversations about the show went. Press people for details and their memories scrambled. One person insisted Walker played a teen inventor building a solar-powered surfboard. Another swore he had a wisecracking pet seagull voiced by a comedian who later became famous. One woman said she remembered watching it every Friday night with her siblings, until she tried looking it up and found nothing. Maybe it was a dream, she admitted, embarrassed but not convinced. The 80s were full of shows that burned brightly and disappeared quickly, cancelled before they even aired in some regions. Syndication rights changed hands, tapes were wiped or recycled, pilots never aired. It is possible, plausible even, that a young Paul Walker filmed a few episodes of something that got lost in the churn. But the deeper you dive into the mystery, the weirder it gets. The search for a single frame. I became obsessed. Not in the unhealthy way, but in the I need to know if the universe is gaslighting us way. I scoured old TV guides from the late 80s. I combed through fan forums, archived fanzines, and message boards so old they still displayed usernames like RadicalDude1987. I searched for production stills, press releases, pilot scripts, anything. Nothing. Not even a blurry screenshot from someone's childhood camcorder recording of the TV screen. Not even a cast listing mistaken for another show. Every attempt threaded through the same empty needle. One might argue that a failed sitcom from 1987 vanishing is not unusual. But the entertainment industry, even back then, left breadcrumbs. There should have been a copyright listing, the filing with the Writers Guild, a credit on someone's resume, a forgotten listing in a summer rerun schedule. Something. Even cancelled pilots leave footprints. This one didn't. And yet, the memories persisted. People weren't making up a show from scratch. They were remembering something. Something that featured Paul Walker. Something beach-themed. Something funny, simple, sunny. Something that was impossible to find.